Good morning, students. Hope you all are staying safe at home. Today we will be starting a new chapter of geography, chapter 2, land, soil and water resources. As we have already learned that land, soil and water, these are the three most important natural resources on the earth. Let us learn about them in detail. Land. It is one of the most important natural resources. As human beings and a number of organisms, we all live on land. There are many of our basic needs such as food, shelter, soil, everything which is derived from land. It is also used in agriculture, industry, mining and construction. So land, it covers 29% of the surface of the earth. Here, large part of this land, it has been covered by deserts, dense forests, mountains and ice, which makes it unsuitable for human settlement. And as a result, human population, they are being unevenly distributed on the earth. Here, some places they are having difficult terrain and not suitable climate, so they are sparsely populated, while some which is having pleasant climate or which is having other facilities, they are densely populated. Now let us move on to land use. Depending upon the topography, soil, climate and availability of water minerals in a region, it is used for various purposes like agriculture, forestry, mining, construction, etc. And the way we use land is also depends upon our factors like density of population, availability of capital and technology. So on the basis of its use, it is put onto, as we can classify land as arable land, which is suitable for cultivation, pasture land, which is used for grazing livestock, fallow land, which is left unused for the season, or we can say it can be cultivated later on. Here now, for now, it is left fallow, uncultivated. The next is cultivable wasteland, the land which can be cultivated but it is lying fallow for more than 5 years. Means for last 5 years there was no practice of agriculture done over that on that land. Here the next is forests and non-agricultural land. So because of growth of human population, it has led to change in land use patterns, and to satisfy our needs, growing needs, increasing population, they have started clearing the land, the fertile lands. They are used to construct buildings for used to build homes and commercial purposes. And because of this, all these consequences of over exploitation of land resources, it has led to land degradation, landslides, soil erosion and desertification, which all possess a serious threat to our environment. Now for conservation of land resources, we have to maintain ecological balance, and because of that, we should conserve our land by land reclamation, by afforestation, that is the process where we plant more and more trees rather than cutting them, regulating the excessive use of fertilizers and pesticides, and to avoid activities like grazing and mining. The next resource we are learning onto is soil. It is the topmost layer of the earth crust, which is made up of thin layer of soil. It is having fine mixture of minerals and organic matter. Over thousands of years ago, these rocks, they broke down into smaller pieces by the agents of erosion, and it is a vital resource which we need for the growth of crops. So there are different kinds of soil based on color, texture, content and fertility. Here we can name them as topsoil, which is dark in color, which is having fine texture, rich in humus and which is very important for plant growth. Subsoil, which consists of sand, silt and clay, and it has only small amounts of organic matter. Parent rock, it consists of large pieces of rocks and it does not have humus. The bedrock, it consists of solid rocks. So here on the basis of physical properties of soil, they can be classified into different types. Alluvial soil, which is rich and fertile soil, which is ideal for cultivation of most types of crops. Black soil, it is majorly found on the areas which are covered with lava millions of years ago. It is rich in iron and it is ideal for the growth of cotton. Red soil, it is red in color due to high iron content into it. it is low in nutrients and humus, and because of that it is very difficult to cultivate on this soil. It is good for growing millets, cotton, wheat, onions and potatoes. Now the next is laterite soil, which is not naturally fertile but it can be treated with fertilizers for cultivation, and it is suitable for the growth of jute, fodder crops and brick making. Here the next one is arid and sandy soil, which is found in dry and desert areas of Rajasthan, which is low in humus and moisture content, but it can be made cultivable and with adequate irrigation we can give them. And the next is mountain soil. The soil is usually in the steeper parts of the mountain, and people they have adapted to the soil and they have started doing agricultural practices over that land. Now the next topic comes about conservation of land, as because of many of the agents of erosion like wind, water, ice or gravity, the upper layer of soil is being displaced from a particular place, and this is known as soil erosion, which leads to the loss of fertility as it removes the layers of soil which contains organic matter and nutrients. So soil erosion, it is one of the main cause of soil degradation as well. Overgrazing, overcultivation, excessive use of fertilizer, dumping of industrial waste and deforestation. These are some of the causes of soil degradation. Now what we can do to conserve our land? The first one is mulching. It is done to cover the bare grounds between plants with organic matter which prevents the loss of moisture from soil. Contour bunding, which is used where we practice barriers, building barriers called bunds, which holds the rainfall and which prevent wind erosion and keeps the soil moist. Terrace farming, which is the process of making terraces and to grow crops there, helps to conserve the soil from the rainwater which carries the soil away. The next is crop rotation, where soil can be conserved by growing different types of crops in the same field in every successive year, which prevents the fertility of soil. And shelter belts is the next one, where in coastal and dry region we can plant shelter belts to break the force of wind and prevent soil erosion. The next one is plugging, where we can we can make the deep channels called gullies. They can grow and destroy the land, and to prevent this, gullies are being plugged with piles of rocks and to stop the flow of water, which prevents soil loss. The next resource we are going to learn is water. As we have already learned that water on earth is of two types, fresh and saline water. Saline water, which is unfit for human consumption, and fresh water accounts for only 2.5% of the water on the earth. It is most of this it is stored in ice sheet and glaciers, and only 1% of all the water which is available on the earth is for the human consumption. So fresh water is found only in the rivers, lakes, ponds and groundwater. So water vapor in the atmosphere is also a part of it. Here, when we see the continuous movement of water from land and ocean to the atmosphere and back again to the land, this cycle, as we have already read about it in the previous classes, is known as water cycle. So fresh water, it is very crucial natural resource which is used for variety of purposes like drinking, washing, irrigation, generation of hydroelectricity, industrial activity and everything. As we all know that water resources in India are major water resource in India are rainfall. So there are main rivers like Ganga, Brahmaputra, Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri and Narmada. Here Ganga and Brahmaputra, they are having their tributaries which are snow fed, which are perennial, which flows throughout the year. And on the other hand, the rivers of Peninsular Plateau, they are seasonal rivers which depends on the rainfall of their water. So here when we talk about the conservation of water resources, scarcity of water, it is a major challenge in many parts of the world today, as partly water scarcity is being caused by increase in population and rising demand of water. There are some other factors also like water pollution, drying up of water resources, failure of monsoon, over exploitation and careless use of water resources. As conservation of water and the need of water, it is a global issue, okay, and there are some ways in which we can conserve water resources. The first one is water pollution should be controlled, as we can take necessary steps to treat the toxic effluents before discharging them in water. We can use scientific and controlled irrigation methods which can prevent the wastage of water, like drip irrigation and sprinkles. They save water. Rainwater harvesting can also be practiced by constructing tanks and pits to prevent runoff water. Mulching and plugging gullies will also help to conserve water. Constructing dams will also help to store water. And we can say afforestation, which will reduce runoff water and which will also replenish the underground water level. So students, I hope that you have understood about resources and how to conserve them. Here's an interesting activity for you all. You can collect rainwater from the terrace of your house through pipes and divert it into the plants or wells in your home. You can also read about how we can collect the rainwater on internet, and you can make a model or draw a picture of the device and share it with your classmates, so that everyone would come to know that on your individual behalf how you can save water resources. Happy learning, students, and have a good day ahead.